the clouds. Hopefully everyone can see my shared screen. Well, welcome to our final workshop together. Workshop 6. I can't believe it. And I know I said every single week, I can't believe we're halfway through or in week 4, but we are officially at the end of our term. We are very close to the end of the year, and you guys are doing such amazing work. So I do just want to acknowledge I am on a Wabakal country today. I am in Newcastle. So I do want to start off with saying if it is a little bit hard to hear me, I really apologize. I am at a conference, so I'm trying to be tucked away in the corner for you, mob. But a little debrief here at this conference. I've been attending a lot of Indigenous workshops and talking with other university lecturers about pre-service teachers and embedding Aboriginal perspectives, and just trying to see what other unis are doing and what we can do for the future, which is super exciting. And we've spoken about what we've touched on in these 6 weeks. And I feel really confident with all of you guys going out and being teachers and taking some of these tools and knowledges to put under your belt to embed later within your classroom. So again, if it is hard to hear, please bear with me. We'll try and make this session nice and short and sweet. So if you have any questions at the end, please do feel free. And if you do have any further questions, shoot me an email or add anything onto the discussion board. So this last module was all about every classroom, every unit, and every time, with exploring high expectations. And that is so important. It's one of those pedagogies that we need to implement within our practice is high expectations for our students. So I have linked here an article. If you have been struggling to find some scholarly literature, so looking at any of the articles to back up with what you are saying. And I've popped here the reference here in APA 7th as well. And this is from Stronger Smarter, and it's about jar jums, high expectations. And as we say, jar jums are for young students. It's what we call them. And this goes on to speak about why having high expectations is really important for our students. And it goes into looking at rejecting that deficit thinking and taking a strength-based approach through developing high expectations. And what are we going to get out of that? So I do highly recommend reading this article. So you can always pop it into Google Scholar, Southern Cross University, and use this scholarly literature to back up why is high expectations really important for our students, getting rid of that negative stereotyping. And the 2 things that we've been speaking about today at the conference is having high expectations on our students and looking at getting rid of a deficit and using a strength-based approach, which is really important for our students' identity and belonging. I have popped again the same article. They go into speaking about a few ideas for developing high expectations and relationships. So they're talking about yarning circles, and it can be as simple as in having those check-ins in the morning. How are you responding to the students? Are you getting to know them? I always refer back to that standard 1.1, know your students and how they learn. But that first one is so important. Know your students. Who are they? Build a strong relationships with your students. But this one down the bottom says building a strong relationship with all sectors, across all sectors. Bring that village together, bringing in community. And the main point here at the very beginning is looking at your own thinking, your own values. Again, that goes back to, I believe, workshop 2 and tutorial 2, where it's unpacking your own unconscious biases. So you really need to have a strong understanding of who you are as a teacher, your expectations, your unconscious biases, where you come from and what you're going to bring into the classroom. And that is going to change over time, but students can sniff that out quite quickly on us. Another link that I've also popped here as well. So this is another scholarly literature and an article that you can use to back up what you were saying. And it's how do we consult with Indigenous Australian communities? As we know, that can be really, really daunting, but it takes time. And it's very normal to feel overwhelmed by it, but it takes time. It's a slow progress, but don't give up. So why is it important? And this article goes deep into why and how can we consult it. So they've given some strategies. So looking at inviting Indigenous community members into our classrooms, you can reach out online to some recommended places. So I always speak about if you wanted to reach out to the Healing Foundation, they're really open and happy to come in and into schools. They've come into my workplace before, and you can build a connection through that. Here they talk about looking at other Indigenous organisations that we've spoken about the past 6 weeks. So really understanding who is in your community and leaning on them. So in New South Wales, the Aboriginal Land Council is really prominent here, so you can reach out for support around there. Looking at, it says hold meetings away from school premises. It can be as easy as just leaving the classroom and having a chat outside of the classroom. Looking at, again, discussing issues with Indigenous educators, going and seeking help, consulting with parents, all these different strategies to help support you. And I know this is definitely heavy towards your assignment, but realistically, these strategies are so important when you do go out and teach. Another style of pedagogy that is going to assist with that sense of belonging and supporting those high expectations for our students is explicit pedagogies, that explicit teaching. You can do a model of I do, we do, you do. So you as a teacher, you're doing it, we do it all together, and the student goes off and does it themselves. But having those scaffolding organizations can help our students learn. Again, I popped down the bottom here, teaching Aboriginal studies for more information around it. Again, it is scholarly literature for you to use. I love Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, and I unpack this more within my diversity lesson. But has anyone seen this before or used this before in their studies? Some have, some haven't. I think it's a really great theory to think about. But Bronfenbrenner talks about how all these systems are interconnected and influence one another, and the relationships that can be created that is essential for a person's development, especially for a child. So as you can see here, the child is at the center, and then it goes from the most important, so your microsystem, who's impacting the child, the family, the school, peers, then it goes your meso, then your exo, your macro, and then your chronosystem. So all of these different complex webs are impacting our students. But I popped this up to show you an example of one that I have found, which is really similar, but it's for Indigenous people and community and well-being. This is for mental health, but I popped this here because I always say if you are not fostering that well-being side, throw that academic out the window. If you're not fostering that well-being and support, you're not going to create relationships with your students. And what I found really important about this, again, this is a lot of research done around it. I have popped the link down there for you if you ever want to go do a deep dive within it. But they talk about how important family, community, land, storytelling, cultural identity impacts individuals and their families. So as you can see, you've got history in the middle, culture, Indigenous youth, and then all the other contexts around it. So again, it's the same words that we keep hearing: developing positive strengths-based interactions with caregivers and peers, promoting positive policy changes as much as you can within your school, your early years centre, cultivating understanding of histories, place, resilience, family. So that's at that very, very beginning bit where the child would be at, understanding their background, understanding who they are, what they bring, making sure you've got a really strong understanding of intergenerational trauma and how that can impact their learning, and then promoting positive interactions between all of these. So it is so multi-layered, and seeing this can feel quite overwhelming, but we always have to start somewhere. So they're just little bits and pieces for us to remind, what should we be promoting in the classroom to support our students? How can we make sure they have that sense of belonging? Am I thinking about the history, the culture? Am I thinking about their community? Am I thinking about the lands that I am currently teaching on? So again, I have popped the APA reference very, very tiny down the bottom of this slideshow. If you want to have a look, please go and have a look. It would be amazing to do a bit of a deep dive. Has anyone listened to Dadari before? So Dadari is a deep listening activity. It is really, really beautiful. It's about having inner deep listening and quiet and still and awareness. I'm just going to mute someone. Um, it's a really great way to stop and reflect. It is an Indigenous practice. So I'm going to play it for you today, and I want you to listen, and hopefully the outside isn't too loud for you guys. But I think it's a really great reflective practice for us as teachers. And I want you, if you want to share, if anything came out of this for you. You can absolutely always do this in within the classroom. There's lots of information around the dairy listening as well.
The dairy, a special quality, a unique gift of the Aboriginal people, is in a deep listening and quiet still awareness. The dairy recognises the deep spring that is inside us. It is something like what you call contemplation. The contemplative way of the dairy spreads over our whole life. It renews us and brings us peace. It makes us feel whole again. In our Aboriginal way, we learn to listen from our earliest times. We could not live a good and useful lives unless we listened. We are not threatened by silence. We are completely at home in it. Our Aboriginal way has taught us to be still and wait. We do not try to hurry things up. We let them follow their natural course, like the seasons. We watch the moon in each of its phases. We wait for the rain to fill our rivers and water the thirsty earth. When twilight comes, we prepare for the night. At dawn, we rise with the sun. We watch the bush foods and wait for them to open before we gather them. We wait for our young people as they grow, stage by stage, through their initiation ceremonies. When a relation dies, we wait for a long time with the sorrow. We own our grief and allow it to heal slowly. We wait for the right time for our ceremonies and meetings. The right people must be present. Careful preparations must be made. We don't mind waiting because we want things to be done with care. Sometimes many hours will be spent on painting the body before an important ceremony. We do not worry. We know that in time and in the spirit of the dairy, that deep listening and quiet stillness, the way will be made clear. We are like the tree standing in the middle of a bushfire sweeping through the timber. The leaves are scorched and the tough bark is scarred and burnt. But inside the tree, the sap is still flowing, and under the ground, the roots are still strong. Like that tree, we have endured the flames, and we still have the power to be reborn. Our people are used to the struggle and the long waiting. We still wait for the white people to understand us better. We ourselves have spent many years learning about the white man's ways. We have learnt to speak the white man's language. We have listened to what he had to say. This learning and listening should go both ways. We would like people to take the time to listen to us. We are hoping people will come closer. We keep on longing for the things that we have always hoped for: respect and understanding. We know that our white brothers and sisters carry their own particular burdens. We believe if they let us come to them, if they open up their minds and hearts to us, we may lighten their burdens. There is a struggle for us, but we have not lost our spirit of the dairy. There are deep springs within each of us. Within this deep spring, which is the very spirit, is a sound. The sound of deep calling to deep. The time for rebirth is now. If our culture is alive and strong and respected, it will grow. It will not die, and our spirit will not die. I believe the spirit of the dairy that we have to offer will blossom and grow, not just within ourselves, but in all.
Does anyone want to comment on that or share anything that spoke to them from that video? Yeah, Caitlin.
I liked the way that For me, the sorry, I haven't thought about what I wanted to say. For me, the concept of the two-way communication, like you're hearing one side, but the other side's not being heard, it's really applicable between teacher and student. Like a
Mhm.
teacher, I feel like it's a really outdated belief to have that a teacher walks into a classroom and fully expects the students to be just this vessel of reception for them. Whereas realistically, kids these days like to be heard, they need to be heard in order to feel like they can function correctly. So I think that's a really cool parallel between, like, to draw between a larger cultural thing and then apply it in a smaller personal context.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Caitlin. And I think that comes back to that pedagogy, which again has been highlighted today at the conference, is the two-way teaching and learning. We learn just as much from the students as they learn as us. And I guess position ourselves as we are the knowledge holders as teachers, but we're not. We learn from our students as well, and what they bring to the table is really important. And I think in a way we can also look at that is our connection to land and what land and country has to inform us and our teaching practice. One thing that has really been highlighted again for all universities is making sure that pre-service teachers like you guys are trying to form strong connections to the country that you are on, but understanding the locality that you're in and bringing that context within your classroom is really, really important. And I think reflecting on assignment one, trying to get resources that are local or that connect to land that you are on. If you're bringing local context within your classroom, it creates a more powerful learning, especially for the students that are from that area, Indigenous or not. It creates such a deeper learning environment. I think that's so important. But today, on a Wobble we had to do some research on what 20 minutes what land we on, or what we call, we had to look deeper into what's actually under the surface of this building is sand. What's the importance of this area? What was any dreaming stories? What's significant? And we did a deep dive within 20 minutes and understanding a beautiful dreaming story here about the sun and the moon crying, and that filled the Lake Macquarie here. And thinking about how can we share that within the classroom and what curriculum can we pull in. So I think that is so important, listening to the land we're on, learning about that local area you are at. If you have a really strong understanding of that local area, you're going to be more confident in teaching it within your classroom. Went on a little bit of a tangent there. Thank you, Caitlin. Cora.
I just really liked the way that they expressed emotional feelings in the context of what the tree's going through, the nature, and being able to have a physical representation outside of the body,
Yeah.
which I think is really helpful for a lot of students to be able to visualize emotions in that
Yes.
way.
Yes.
And
Yep.
just like there's like deeper philosophies there that are a lot easier to unpack because you've got some kind of connection to prior knowledge of what a bushfire looks like and what happens to a tree.
Yep.
And like in a lot of pedagogy, it's like connect that knowledge to something that you know. And then we're looking at social emotional learning and capabilities. And that's
Yes.
not necessarily something that we do very well. We're
Yes.
just like, can you name the word? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Whereas this is, yeah, I think it's a really powerful tool.
Yeah, it's again, it's linking back to country being the knowledge holder and learning from how uh what the trees are feeling and understanding what we can learn from that, how that relates to Indigenous culture. And yeah, I think it's really powerful for students. Would anyone else like to say any other comments? So Didiri, there is a website down the bottom here for Didiri. And it gives you so much more information. It even gives you more deeper listening exercises. I'm just going to quickly pop that on the screen for you guys. And it speaks about deeper connection and skills and bridging understanding and exactly what you just said, social and emotional learning and well-being frameworks. Again, that links to that trauma-informed practice, our pedagogy. So yeah, very, very important tool that we can tap into as teachers as well to help embed for our students. And I can see Jennifer there. I really like the way they are happy to wait. We're so bad at being still and listening now. Waiting patiently until the right people are there for the right time is something we should all practice, which is very, very true. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts on that. I think it's a really beautiful exercise. And each time I have listened to it, I hear something different in the context or what situation I'm at in life or within learning or within research. I hear something else. So I think it's also a fantastic deep listening exercise for you as well. I have popped 2 links here again. I'm just flicking out more resources before I leave you guys and you don't do this course again. But this one here is Deadly Story Time. Again, this is a fantastic resource. It is from Victoria, and it gives you tools and information and lessons about looking at a place for Aboriginal culture, country, and community. So it gives you, if you're a young child, a carer, or a practitioner, and it gives you information. I think this is also a fantastic resource if you ever have carers come to you, or if you're working with high school students, that they can look at this for young mob. But if you click on practitioner, it tells you to be the deadliest practitioner that you can be. And then it breaks down into different subsections. So if you want to look at family and community, personal identity tools, learning about culture, and then it gives you so much information. It gives you activities, it gives you stories, history, articles, any events if you want to go further into learning about country. I think it's a very fantastic resource to do some professional development as well for yourself. Again, it takes a lot of time to deep dive into what's out there, but if it's out there, definitely use it. Gives you community places, just like the IATSIS map. And it even goes deep diving again to look at missions and community spaces again, which is quite important as well. If we had 6 weeks of just unpacking history, we would go down a rabbit hole. The other one I wanted to show you as well is the Cultural Hub. And it's very similar to the other one as well, but it tells you what type of audience, again, early years, school years, young mob, parents and carers. And then it gives you all different types of resources. So if you want to try and find an audio, it breaks down different interests that you're trying to use. And then it links you to external websites or resources. And they've got 7 pages and they try and keep this updated quite regularly. This is from Victoria as well. Have a deep dive if you're ever a little bit bored trying to find something, studying up on your professional learning, trying to help a carer, use this website, link all of these things. Definitely going to be valuable. And the last one I do want to show you as well is WellMob. WellMob is a fantastic resource, especially for those older years. We would give it to our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students who we're working with that were in high school. And it breaks down so much information for them. And again, as well for you as a teacher, if you don't know how to navigate a certain situation, but it can talk about mind, more information about mob, culture, how to keep safe. And it gives you all the types of resources, culture and identity. And then it will load. And I mean, this is like a library. And they do try and keep this very much updated. All different types of things. Self-discovery, if anyone's having identity issues or belonging, there is so many resources here to help navigate that as well. So really, really great. We had one student that was struggling with a little bit going through puberty. There was some fantastic resources that we could pull from WellMob to help assist with this student. Podcasts, so lots and lots of different things. Now I'm showing you after you had to do assignment 1, but all of these resources are here to support you. You are not alone. So finally, I know I've rushed through this, so I do want to leave a certain amount of time towards the end to ask any questions. But I have created a resource for you guys to help inspire you and to feel a little bit more prepared, maybe more so than you were at the beginning. just to hold your hand. But as I've always said, and I know it's so cliche, but as teachers, we are lifelong learners. We're going to have to learn to do certain things. We may be wrong, but look, as educators, we're always going to do something wrong. We're going to relearn, unlearn, and try again. So, as I said, I do believe in you all as teachers that you can do this authentically. Always reflect on yourself as a teacher and your practice, and never forget about those 4R framework. So here I've popped in, and I'm going to send a digital copy for you guys. If you are on campus, I'm more than happy to try and print you. But I've just popped a list of just quick and short, easy resources to go through. If you ever need anything, click into these. These are resources that can expand out into different all other resources. I think I'm going to have to add to this the more I'm thinking about it. And then again, if you go on a prac, if you go to a new school, you just got a permanent job, I think this is a really good tool. Print it out and have a reflect on your cultural learning journey. What nation are you on? And these questions I've popped here to kind of get you thinking and really try to connect to the local area. Again, that question is, where am I from? I want you to kind of think deeper. How can you connect with your students? Who are the three main people that you can develop a relationship with in that community? What are those steps that you can do? I've just popped some reflection questions at the bottom there for you. You may be thinking you've done something really well in that term. What can you do differently next term or the next week? And maybe I've popped down there, what's one question I still have about embedding Aboriginal perspectives and how will I find those answers? So those things just to kind of keep your professional learning going. I have popped here a little checklist to think about to support you. So you could do this, I've said, once a term or monthly or weekly, whatever you like. So are you enrolled in a professional development? If your school or early centre is holding a yarn up or just even a parent meet and greet, are you going? Are you having those high expectations? Are you differentiating tasks? Are you looking at cultural resources? Are you reflecting on your own identity and your own biases? Are you reviewing and updating your lessons regularly? Are you seeking any peer or mentor feedback? And it's really important as a teacher. Always reflect, always seek guidance. We can only get better as a teacher. And I did pop a little one, create an acknowledgement of country with your class. It doesn't have to be that kitschy sentence that you see online. It's authentic if you and your classroom make one that's beautifully acknowledging that local area that is around you. And then lastly, I've just popped some goal setting for you guys. If you ever want to chuck down some notes and then maybe see a year later and go, oh, I never really met that goal, or maybe I smashed that goal out of the park. But I will send this out, a digital copy for all of you guys. I think I just might update that resource now that I'm thinking about it because so many are jumping out to me. But assignment 2 is Sunday the 7th, 11:59. You've got your 3 reflection questions, each are 500 words, making sure you've got your 3 to 6 scholarly literature to help back up what you're saying, which is your articles, anything that I have spoken about or pops the links in. You can use some grey literature like your Department of Education or any of those frameworks to back up what you were saying. And remember, it is a reflection, so it is about you. So what you're going to be writing about is going to be different to the next person. So it is really trying to make you think and reflect on you and your teaching practice and skills. I'm going to leave it here because I would love to open the floor for any questions that you may have. So please fire away. Jen, I just saw you. I'm more than happy for you to use more than 6 references if you feel that is needed. You are all quiet today. Week 6, feeling a little bit exhausted. Anything that I can help with? If not,
No, I
I
just
am.
want to say
Yep.
thank you. Yeah, I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you so much, Madison. I truly enjoyed your course. It was very easy to follow and very interesting. I learned so much. Yeah, because I didn't know much about it because I'm from Europe. So yeah, I found it interesting and fascinating. Thanks a lot.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Georgia. I really, really appreciate it. That's my goal.
Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
support and for everything.
Anytime, anytime. Caitlin.
Just a quick question. With the first one, like the first reflection question, can we use like just like the community experience within the classroom and having so many different perspectives and backgrounds be part of like one of the significant things that really furthered our knowledge in the sense that it's like you never assume how much someone knows or
Yep.
that kind of
Yep.
thing. We could that
Yep.
applies.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Paul, I might pop some examples up tomorrow. I'll pop it up where I pop these links. We've only done this assignment. I changed it this year. So I've only gave a handful of examples, and I don't want to confuse some people because it is a personal writing style, but I will try and pop maybe 3 more up for some guidance. But yes, I would definitely do that. Any other questions? As I am out of the office on a conference, so I won't be doing my tutorial teaching. Someone else will be doing that for you guys. But if no other questions, thank you so much for such a wonderful term. And again, in the future, if you do need any support while you're out in prac or you're eventually in a teaching position, please, please, please feel free to email me for any advice or any questions that you may have, because I would love to continue this journey with you. You're not alone. And if you would love, I'd love to come by if it's locally to see your classroom as well. But again, if you have any questions, shoot me an email, add it onto Blackboard. And all of the rest. So please have a wonderful evening, enjoy your tutorial, and have a wonderful rest of the year, and enjoy any celebrations that you may have, and feel rested. Thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you so much. Stop sharing.